Welcome everyone to our beginning of the year planning meeting. We have a lot to cover and a lot of students to talk about today, and I thank you all for your participation in not only this meeting but all of your efforts both last year and into the future towards supporting all of our learners, specifically those with disabilities. So thank you, and I look forward to working with you this year. As you know, our school is an inclusive environment for our students, their parents and families, our staff and the community. That means that we not only welcome students and their families from all walks of life, be it different cultures, different abilities, different socioeconomic backgrounds, different religions, and different sexual preferences, we actually embrace and provide specific supports for them. One of the ways that we provide supports for our diverse group of students is through meetings like this. We also pride ourselves in our inclusive practices. As my very first point for this meeting, I'm advising and encouraging you to take it upon yourself to get to know your students and start building relationships from your first interactions with them this year, be it in the classroom or anywhere around the school. Shattuck, Giraselli and Smith, 2007, state that inclusive practice requires school leadership and vision that foster a sense of community and emphasises the importance of relationships. I hope to share with you some of my vision as a leader in this school. You will also be aware that as teachers we have specific obligations that must be met for our students, particularly those with disabilities, which is what we are discussing today. You have our school's welfare policies and procedures in front of you, and this was prepared for staff, students and families to help them understand their roles and responsibilities within our school. This booklet was developed from many different sources. However, I want to draw your attention to two main pieces of legislation that affect us as teachers in relation to students with a disability. They are the Disability Discrimination Act 1992, also referred to as the DDA, and the Disability Standards for Education 2005. Let's look at the 1992 Disability Discrimination Act first. This is legislation which is explained by Foreman 2017 as a regulation established by our government with the purpose of controlling the behaviour of individuals and organisations. In this instance, the purpose of the Act is to eliminate discrimination against people with disability. This means that our students are protected by law and we must therefore know, understand and adhere to them. The DDA makes it unlawful to treat people unfairly because of a disability. Specifically, this means that as a school, we will not discriminate against a person on the grounds of disability by refusing or failing to accept the person's application for admission as a student, or in the terms or conditions on which it is prepared to admit the person as a student, by denying the student access or limiting the student's access to any benefit provided by the educational authority, or by expelling the student, or by subjecting the student to any other detriment, by developing curricula or training courses having a content that will either exclude the person from participation or subject the person to any other detriment, or by accrediting curricula or training courses having such a content. To understand how this affects us, we must look to the Disability Standards for Education 2005. The standards clarify the obligations of education and training providers and seek to ensure that students with disability can access and participate in education on the same basis as other students. Under the standards, and therefore the law, education providers have three main obligations. We must consult with a variety of stakeholders to support students with disabilities. We must make reasonable adjustments where necessary to ensure that students with a disability can access and participate in education on the same basis as other students, and we must eliminate harassment and victimisation. Foreman 2007 discusses the relationship between your personal beliefs, the legal requirements and organisational policy, being imperative for inclusive education. I therefore ask you all to reflect on this for a moment and think about how your personal beliefs are empowering or impacting your ability to provide an inclusive education for your students, and in line with Foreman's view, that you prioritise meaningful inclusion, developing an understanding of the strengths and support needs of your students. I'm going to present to you today on three main topics: collaboration, strategies for learning and support in the classroom, and integrating digital technologies in relation to one student. This is Anna. Anna is in my Year 7 English class and homeroom. Speaking to Anna prior to this meeting, this is what Anna wants you to know about her. Anna is 12 years old. She loves photography and provided me with this photo of her. She plays soccer for the Beach State rep team and loves to travel with her family. Anna would also like you to know that her anaphylaxis is severe. She has had several trips to hospital with life-threatening reactions and finds it very hard to be close to people and make friends because she is scared of having a reaction. In line with the social model of disability, as explained in Gallagher, Connor and Ferry 2014, Anna does not want you to think that her disability simply means that she has a deficit or an inability for her to participate and do things as her peers do. Anna wants you to recognise her strengths and goals. Getting to know Anna first and foremost will assist you with this, and also to recognise and remove the barriers that anaphylaxis creates for Anna at school. To begin this process, we will use collaboration as the tool. There are many reasons that we collaborate, and Caputo and Langer 2015 state that it is a necessity in providing an inclusive education. This is because inclusion only has limited success when educators do not share responsibility, and when all partners share responsibility, the range and diversity of experience and resources available will be greatly enhanced, as outlined in Welsh 2000. Upon enrolment at the school, Anna and her parents had an initial meeting with the principal and the learning support team. At this meeting, a number of stakeholders were identified as needing to be involved in supporting Anna at the school. Anna and her parents requested that we be in contact with our local Department of Health, which we have done, and we have organised some training by a community health nurse. In addition, Anna regularly sees her GP, an allergist and a psychologist, and we now have copies of Anna's latest medical reports, plus a report from Anna's previous school, which helps us to better understand her condition and the associated impacts on her education. We will now collaborate, as outlined in Shattuck, Ghirardelli and Smith 2007. We will, as a team, use this information to develop an individual education plan for Anna. Within the school, we as classroom teachers are expected to be discussing the needs of all students on a regular basis. I would encourage you to think of ways to do this outside of the scheduled and formal meeting times. It could be on your lunch breaks, in between classes, or in the playground. Our head teacher of learning support will be in constant contact with all teachers and will meet with the learning support team every Monday morning. All staff meet on Wednesday mornings and head teachers meet with their faculty staff every Friday. At these meetings, please ensure that you discuss ways of supporting your students with disabilities and learn and collaborate with each other on ways to improve your knowledge and therefore your ability to support these learners. Anna's individual education plan will be reviewed with Anna, her parents and the head teacher of learning support once per term. Anna and her parents are encouraged to provide feedback as needed throughout the term. In supporting Anna and her education plan, I've implemented the following strategies, which follow the evidence-based approach called Universal Design for Learning. Post and Rainville 2011 state that this approach to curriculum and instruction increases access to learning for students with widely diverse backgrounds and learning styles. This means that the strategies implemented will assist a range of students in the classroom, not just Anna. Manning 2019 states that returning to school at the start of the year is a particularly stressful time for students with allergies, and therefore I have set up a cleaning station outside of the classroom. I encourage all students to use wet wipes to clean their hands as they walk in. This benefits Anna in reducing her anxiety about safety in the classroom, and she'll be more likely to feel at ease about the upcoming lesson. All students also will have a much cleaner environment, better benefiting their overall health and well-being. Content will be delivered in multiple ways. All information will be read to students as well as written on the board, catering for both auditory and visual learners. I will provide handouts in large font using simple English. Students with disabilities such as ADHD or vision impairment will benefit from these measures, as will Anna if her anxiety is particularly bad on some days, as well as ESL learners. In fact, any student who is having trouble concentrating will benefit from multimodal presentations of information. Year 7 will begin the learning this year with how to make a presentation. In the first lesson, I'll be putting written instructions on the board, which I'll explain verbally. Students will be encouraged to ask questions in class as well as email them in later. All questions will then be answered in the next class. This improves engagement with the content because engagement is promoted outside of scheduled classes and assists many students, including those with slow processing and those like Anna who may not want to speak up in class. Students can look at the board or the printed paper in front of them, giving them a choice in how they process the information. The final assessment includes a presentation to the class. I'll be allowing students to choose how they deliver this. They will have a choice of writing an essay, making a speech in front of the class, or recording a presentation using voice and PowerPoint slides. This kind of choice promotes greater engagement with the content and flexibility for learners to express and demonstrate their knowledge in different ways. These are overarching principles of universal design for learning, as outlined in Post and Rainville 2011. At the start of this year, I will be asking students to download the Smiling Minds app. This is a mindfulness app that has a series of guided meditations designed to bring calmer classrooms and less stress for teachers, as well as increased mental well-being, greater concentration and focus, improved academic performance and improved resilience for students, and specifically for Anna, better relationships. This is one of Anna's goals for her transition to this school. For students without an electronic device, I will provide this on a number of iPads in the classroom. In Term 1, I will begin every lesson with a 5-minute guided meditation. Students can watch on the smartboard or use headphones on their devices and sit in a place that they are comfortable. Again, this choice and range of options is in line with the UDL principles. As the term goes on, students may choose to use this app at any time for up to 5 minutes when they're feeling overwhelmed, disconnected with the content, or simply need some calming space to get back on track with their work. In order to incorporate the use of this app into the curriculum, students will be asked to write in a journal for the 5 minutes after a meditation. This is to develop their writing skills and reflect on the effectiveness of mindfulness and meditation. She, 2011, outlines that reflection is important for students to consider the process of one's own learning, which is metacognition, to critically review their learning materials, to build theories from observation, and finally engage in personal or self-development, or to empower themselves as individual learners. For these reasons, both the mindfulness app and reflective journal writing work together to meet the needs of Anna and her peers. I will also be implementing a learning management system called Moodle. Moodle is an open source platform, online learning platform, which is free and simple for teachers and students to use. You can see it here on the screen. I will place all content in Moodle, which students can access at any time. This will be helpful for Anna on days that she feels that she cannot attend due to anxiety, or if there are extended periods of time that she needs to be away for medical reasons. Because the classroom is often overwhelming for Anna and many students, Moodle is a place for them to go to access the curriculum and also interact with other students and myself. Moodle has the ability for teachers to upload video content and lectures, which you can see here, quizzes, PowerPoint slides, other documents. There's a welcome letter at the top here, some getting started information, a discussion forum. This means that classwork is now accessible outside of the classroom in a highly interactive format. Here is a look at some of the content I put together earlier. Thank you for your time today, and I hope that I have given you some strategies to help you support Anna and other students with diverse abilities.